Test. Okay, cool. How you doing, guys? Welcome to Sit Down, Shut Up. I named the stream wrong, so you'll have to deal with that. Okay. Hope you guys doing well. Welcome to a morning edition of this show. Let me get Tallergeese on. So today we have Tallergeese. Let's bring him on. Hey, Tallergeese, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah. Rare morning one, huh? But you're West Coast, so it's not so bad, right?
Well, I mean that makes it more morning, right?
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Huh? Anyway, cool man. So
Yeah.
tell me a little about what's been going on. I know you said you switched to Cammy, right? So tell me about what's been going on.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really intend to actually switch, but I just kind of have a one-track mind like that. I guess I
Okay.
couldn't juggle the two. But really, just Cammy plays so differently in neutral. I've had a lot of trouble adjusting. Like I think the kind of difference is just that Manon sort of has these big pokes, and she can sort of just enforce space by sitting out the big pokes.
Hmm.
Whereas Cammy actually is a lot more interactive in her neutral. Like you need to use her walk speed to get in and out and space out their normals a lot more. And
Hmm.
it's just been a big sort of adjustment. The anti-air situation is just it's dire, Jesse.
Well, yeah, Cammy, you do need to use DP to anti-air, right? Like you need to be
Yeah, it's rough.
it's difficult to use a button. Like your best ones are what? Back medium punch, which is not great, or like the back heavy kick, which is also not great. So yeah, you need to be using DP, right? Manon can get away with using just a button, right? Because that is
Yeah,
her main
you
anti-air
actually are
weapon. So
greatly rewarded for just
yeah,
using a button.
yeah. But not so much there, right? Okay. So switching to Cammy from Manon, yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. The neutral is definitely played a little bit differently. Your enforcement of space relies not just on the button itself, but her movement speed, right? Like Manon movement speed's a little bit slower, I think, relative to Cammy. So
Yeah,
you have longer pokes to compensate. Additionally, you have the threat of the command grab, right? So like the command grab itself warps how neutral is played in some ways because you can always threaten that, right? So like you
yeah. I don't even know how much that was helping me. Like while I was playing Manon, I wasn't aware of how much it was helping me in
Mhm.
neutral. I was just like, damn, I'm so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, man, I get a block string in, people just jump randomly, like I keep getting counter hits. Yeah. Yeah. And it's because of the command grab, right? So like if you as Manon get in and you're able to kind of use a block string or you have an Oku situation, it forces a 50-50, right? Like now I have to guess if you're gonna command grab or not. Even on hit, right? You could hit me and then reset me in a command grab, right? And if I'm autopiloting or sleep at the wheel, I get hit by command grab and all of a sudden, oh crap, I got command grabbed. Now is Driver's Oki coming or whatever, right? Like something like that. But with Cammy, it's more strike throw, right? So like you don't have a command grab to enforce the 50-50 like that. So people will be option select against you, delay text, that type of thing, right? So okay.
Yeah.
Well let's see how it goes, right? So let me invite you to a custom room here. All right. All right. So it's the usual thing, but I'll reiterate it for the benefit of the stream. So basically we'll just run our first three. I'll get a sense of what's been going on or the things that you've been talking about and what things I'm noticing. After that, we'll do a little replay review. So we'll take a look at one of our games and one of the replays you sent. Probably one of the losses, for better or worse, because there's usually more things to talk about there. So take a look at those two things, and then after that, if there's something in particular we want to look at, we'll hop into the lab, do a little lab work. If there's something we want to deep dive into, and then afterwards, if there's time and you're up for it, we can run it back another first three. So if that all sounds good, go ahead and queue up. I'll join you, and then I'll hop in. I'll go ahead and. I usually have the spiel that I memorize, but it's morning, so I'm not really ready, right? So, but
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I'll go ahead and hop into training, into one of the slots when you're ready. I'll hop in. I'll be muted on Discord or deafened in Discord, so it won't impact anything you're doing. Also, the timer may run down to like 1 or 2 seconds before rematch. Don't worry, I'm still here, just kind of articulating things on stream. So, go ahead and queue up, and good luck.
Good luck.
Hey, Snorlax, good morning. Thanks for jumping in. Hope y'all doing well today, guys. I know I named the I forgot to change the stream name from test stream, so well, whatever. All right, let's see what's been going on. Nice. Oh. Nice jump. Nice mash. That's a pro mash right there. Oh, no DP for me, huh? Oh, I thought I had enough for a throw. Okay. Pretty good, pretty good. Hey, can we show what's good? Morning. That's the way to be, man. Oh, good bait. So DP miss. So far I think they play neutral pretty well, actually. I don't think there's any particular issue with what they're doing, but oh, I was talking. Oh man, that's bad. All right, so that was actually pretty good on their part, right? The 50-50 at the very, or not 50, but like the unk check at the very end for the overhead. But I do think they play neutral pretty well, right? So yeah, it's pretty good. Did they throw again? All right, 4, 5. I should have just reversaled. Okay. Alright, we're back on track, guys. Yeah, again, I think they actually play neutral pretty well here, right? The only thing I'm seeing, like, noticing-wise, is that they tend to go for the low. So after a block string, they'll go for, like, a low afterwards, trying to catch you walking back. So I wonder if we can blow that up a little bit, right? So if we go for, like, a... Oh, and spacing the whiff, huh? Jump. Ah! Yeah, so I think some of the one dimensionality, is that even a thing? So offense can get kind of one-dimensional, if that makes sense, right? So like if they're looking for specifically a drive rush combo or like a low drive rush low, and I know they're looking for that, I can kind of play around that, right? And you saw me do that a couple of times with like baiting a whiff and getting a punish off it, right? And trying to stand at a spacing where they can't really I need to be DPOSing that. They can't really get their low, right? Feel the power cut. Yeah, dude, it's so strong, right? See? So if I just plant instead of trying to walk back. Oh man. Forgot what other character Tallergeese plays says, man. Yeah, actually, it was funny because I think I was playing Akuma. This is a while back, and I ran into Tallergeese on ranked on Cammy, and I was like, "Wait, what?" Oh, nice. Oh. So I need to be DPO. Oh, that's good spin knuckle. Oh, my DP didn't come out. But you kind of see the offensive sequencing, right? So like they'll go into what they're going into. and then they'll go into a low afterwards, right? Oh man. Ah! I can't believe I dropped. The DI came out and it was too early. Okay, so you can see the adjustment I made there, basically, right? Was that I'm trying to force them to not be able to just walk up and hit me with a low. Oh, that was a dive kick attempt. And actually, speaking of which, they haven't done any dive kicks, right? Ah. Oh, come on. Yeah. So, again, what I'm seeing basically is that there is an overall reliance on the crouch immune kick, low, like the low forward drive rush, right? Oh, no dive kick. And maybe some spacing stuff too, right? Like maybe they aren't too familiar with Cammy spacing. Okay. So basically, what the main thing I'm noticing is that I think like once they realized or felt like they couldn't use crouching medium kick, they kind of weren't really able to control space anymore, right? So let's bring it back on and see what they thought. Hey, buddy, what do you think?
That's I was really getting eaten up there.
Yeah, what I was saying on stream, let me turn your volume up a little bit here. What I was saying on stream was that I think that and this is pretty common, I think, when people go from non-low forward characters to low forward characters with drive rush, right? Or sorry, non-drive rush low forward to drive rush low forward, is that you tend to have a reliance on it, right? So like you're able to tag people as they're walking, as they're moving. Kami has a good crouch medium kick. So you get into that, right? So you do your crouch medium kick drive rush, you get your combo, you run your Oki, you corner me. So now you've won 2 sequences, and now you have to play offense without a command grab, right? And then
Yeah.
if I just stay patient and block it out, or maybe I can make an educated guess at some point, depending. Um, After that offense after you get your initial mid-screen offense, it's kind of hard to continue that offense, right? That offensive sequencing, unless you played a character like this before, right? But if you with Manon, all you would have to do is just kind of threaten a command grab, and then people will do some silly things and you beat them, right? Like, why are you
Yep.
jumping when you meaty them, right? Like, or like they are just continuing to block, they take the throw, or they do something silly like delay tech, right, against a command grab character. So without that option, you have to change your offensive sequencing a little bit. So that was one thing I noticed, and you did a really good job in game one, right, where you were able to kind of overwhelm me with options, and then I wasn't able to guess correctly in a couple of spots and died for it, right?
Yeah.
So you know that was pretty good. But once I made an adjustment to how you were playing kind of the mid screen and how your offense was going, it kind of felt like you were looking for one thing, and if that one thing didn't work, you just kind of stood there, right? Like you were kind of stuck on what am I supposed to do next, right? So
Yeah, that sounds exactly accurate. Like I'm
okay,
definitely a crouching medium kick I rush merchant, and I don't really have any other layers of offense besides that. I don't really have any ways of generating offense without using a ton of
mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, it's a different way of playing the game because the way you generate offense with Cammy, a lot of it has to do with like light string pressure and then cornering somebody, right? So I'll share my screen in Discord. Let's take a look at one of the replays here. I'll bring it up. One sec here. I think this one. I'm trying to think which one was better. I think it might be this one. Yeah, let me know if you can see my screen. Get started.
I can, yeah.
Cool.
Beginning operation.
Don't expect me to be a pushover. Round one.
All right. All right, so this was game 3, I think. So you had one game 1, and a lot of it was on the strength of your kind of just feeling the crouching medium kick, being able to corner me and stuff. So let's take a look at this game, and we'll let this run out until something interesting happens. So let's see. All right, so right here, this is actually pretty good for me, right? See? That spacing was pretty good, right, for the stand heavy kick. So when it comes to playing a character like Cammy, who kind of thrives on mid-screen control, like you don't really have a lot of like neutral skips that are great. I mean, I take that back. You have neutral skips, they exist. But like if you play her fundamentally, she's a better character. A lot of your kind of offense revolves around being able to control mid-screen space, right? And you know, Manon's the same way in a lot of ways. But using the stand heavy kick this way and hitting me here, what this does is it forces me to respect that space, right? So now if I walk into the space, I have to be like, oh, they may be able to stand heavy kick me now, right? So I can't just walk in for free. So this is good, right? This is what you want to be doing here. You want to establish that you control the space in front of you, you control space above you, all that stuff. And it forces me as your opponent to respect your ability to control that space and therefore play around it, right? So
Yeah, the standing heavy kick is a very kind of familiar button because Manon's is very similar.
Yeah.
And so that is actually something I think that I kind of overuse or over rely on Cammy sometimes, where I play it like Manon, and I just stand back and try to or stand heavy kick over and over, rather than I'm going to go forward or advance and tread pressure.
Yeah, and I think like that's really just a remnant of like, hey, I can control space with this button, and people don't DI me for whatever reason, so I can just keep pressing it for free, right? It's safe on block, right? You can't punish Cammy after that, no matter how poorly you space that, if that happens, right? If you whiff, it's a problem, but you know. So from here though, what happens is I get a little stubborn, right? So you hit me, and I'm like gonna walk up and stand heavy punch you, right? Like if you look at my input here, right, I'm walking up and stand heavy punch you, right? And the reason I'm doing that is because I think that in my head, I had thought that after you landed that stand heavy kick, you were going to try to back up a little bit and wait for me to do something, right? Instead, what you do is you walk up and press stand light kick, right? So this is really good. So you walk up and stuff what I'm doing, right? This is good. So this is how you control space, right? Is that you control the space at the max range. And if I get too close, you send a light or something to check my movement, right? And yeah, I think like for Cam again, we have to spend a lot of time in this area because this is how she wins the game. She wins games, basically, right? All right, so right there, right? I had to go for you sent the low, went for a throw. Now on my end, I'm perfectly happy to take a throw from that situation every time, 100%, right? Because from a pure reward standpoint, you get a 1200 damage throw and spend 3 bars, right? And I'm like, okay, like not a huge deal either way, right? Like you have one more driver to send if you wanted to, but it'll leave you close to burnout. I still have a ton of life and all that stuff, right? So like if your opponent is just planting and you have to do crouching medium kick into block and you just throw them and you get a throw, I guess that's not the worst thing in the world off of that. But once you realize that your crouching medium kicks aren't landing like that, you have to kind of do something else, right? And let's take a look at what other things you could be doing. But this right here, for me as a defensive player, more than happy to take a throw here, right? I don't really want to risk anything else here. So, yep. So you go for it again. I miss my whiff punish. Right. And then I tried the DPOS here, but I was late. Right? I didn't react in time. And then I just started mashing it out here while I was in block stun, right? Because you've been going for these light strings, right? So if you're noticing that your opponent is going for DPOS here, which is right here, I think, right? Yeah. Let's see if I can do it. Oop. Right. So if your opponent is able to do that, that essentially shuts down your crouching medium kick now, right? Because you're spending 3 bars against my 2 bars, so you're behind on drive, and I'm beating you without having to deal with a mix-up, right? So like even that crouching medium kick, you sent it with a jab, so that's like the fastest thing you can do since Cammy's stand jab is 4 frames if I'm not mistaken. There's still a
Yeah.
gap, right? So like if I block this and I'm ready, right? Like good players, like as you climb up, good players will shut that down every time, right? And if they have meter to do so. And that can be problematic because now, right, like you get knocked back. I could drive rush here, but Ken's ODDP doesn't give Oki, but other characters ODDPs do, right, or they can. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that you have to be careful if your opponent is able to rip the DPOS there, then you have to be a little bit more careful with your usage of crouching kick drive rush, right? So because they could also do something like this too, right? Right, and then now there's no mix up at all, right? And that this works pretty universally against every drive rush, right? Even if there is a gap, they'll be able to do that, and then they basically shut down your offense again, right? And for the same spend it now, again the meter difference is you're down an extra bar, right? So, oh shit, that's not the right button.
Beginning.
All right, so go back to the sequencing here. All right, driver's throw. All right, able to DPOS or OS or sorry DP3 your light string, right? That was good jab right there, right? Good challenge. Ooh. So what happened here, right? How did this hit you?
Just let's see.
Let's see. Yeah. So this right here happens because you were, like you were saying, relying on stand heavy kick, right?
Yeah.
And sending that, right? So you had been so far been doing a really good job of keeping me out with stand heavy kick, right? So like your spacing, you're pressing it at, the timing that you have on it is pretty good, right? If I kept walking forward in this situation here, I get hit, right? So from right here, if I decide to walk forward or press a button, I'm gonna get hit, right? So like if I do this, right? Or if I do this, well, not like that, but it would be this, right? Like you see me trying to walk forward, press something or whatever, I would get counter hit, right? So my adjustment to that is to try to walk in and out of a space that induces you to press, right? So I had made an adjustment to your neutral tendency at that point in time, right? So that's where this comes in. So if we look at this in real time, right, you had kind of made an assumption that I would continue pressing forward rather after this stand heavy kick, right, or after this button is pressed. So we're both kind of playing neutral here, right? You had kind of assumed that I would, after that button whiffed, you had assumed that I would just walk forward and press something, right? And because I did that before, right? I whiffed a button, or I tried to press, or you had hit me, and then I walked forward anyway and got hit, right? So now I made an adjustment to your neutral tendency at this point in time and scored this whiff punish with that, right? So basically what this means, and this happens to everybody, right? Like getting hit like this happens to everybody all the time, all levels, right? What this means though is that I have adjusted to looking for whiff punishes by inducing you to whiff buttons, right? So like I'll walk in and out of space and induce buttons, right? So now you have to realize, okay, now that Juzzy's looking for that in particular, how do I change my neutral to beat that, right? And the reason I have to bring this up is because with Cammy, a lot of the gameplay that she has is based on the footsie's fundamentals here, right? Like being able to recognize when your opponent is kind of looking for whiff punishes, or if they're trying to cover attack, if they're trying to walk up and hit you, like trying to understand those, like what role they're playing at that point in time is how you adjust Cammy's buttons around that, right? So like clearly I'm trying to induce you to whiff a heavy, right? And I am able to score with Punisher because of it. So we'll see if you make an adjustment around that, but let's see if more interactions come up like that. Damn it. So I get jabbed here, right? And then there's the drive rush cancel into low, right?
Yeah.
Right. So let's take a look at this sequence here, right? So what you did here was you immediately went into driver's throw or low forward drive rush, right? And it gets blocked.
Mhm.
And now the situation is that you are
That
down
is way
to
worse. Yeah.
this and still cornered.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? Right. So from here though, right? At this point in time right here, I mean, ideally you counter hit confirm this into like, I think it's crouching medium kick. Nope.
I think you're on the pullback, maybe.
Yeah, let's see. It should reach. Well, that'll work, but there's a counter hit from here. Yeah, there you go. That should work.
Yeah.
Right. So, anyway, that's for later on. The counter hit jab confirm or whatever, because that gets you out, right? So if you do that,
Yeah.
right, now you're out of the corner, basically, right? So, anyway, with that though, from right here, you have options, right? You don't necessarily have to commit to a drive rush here. Like you could just wait it out. Let's see. Right, so corner defense, right? So like, if you were playing Manon right here, who doesn't have that low forward drive rush, how would you defend this, right? Like, what would you do differently, you think?
Well, I might even do the same thing which is hit a low, but since I literally can't cancel out of it, I won't kill my drive gauge on that.
Yeah, but you would send a button. Right?
Yeah.
You maybe send a low, try to catch me walking back. Manon has pretty good range, right? So you'd be send.
Yeah, her
Like
crouching medium kick's actually huge.
It's pretty good, right? Like you can poke with it pretty well, and then you would be able to hit me, create some space, right? And then you can play neutral again. But with Cammy here, right, you do have good defensive options, right? Like you have 4-frame jab that's pretty good, counter confirmable. You have the low forward drive rush, like you're saying. You can ODDP. Like you have a lot of options overall. But here we're in neutral, right? So you don't necessarily have to send anything if you don't want to, right? You can try to play unfair neutral, which, is tough. I totally understand, like, not wanting to be in that position because that's how I run offense, right? Is I stand at this space right here and press buttons until you get hit, right? But the thing is, like, with a low forward driver's character is that it's so easy to be like, well, I could just get out if they back up and go for a driver into a mix-up, right? And get at it that way. But the issue is your drive bar, right? So you could send one, but if you do, and I block it, like what happens is you're now in a position where you potentially have spent all your resources and you're still not out, right? So from here, like what I would suggest potentially is if you notice that I'm just kind of planting here, you can try to not use drive rush and instead use a button, right? So like the goal here, and this is something that I think you'll have to kind of get a feel for. You don't always have to send drive rush. You could just poke, use buttons, not get a conversion necessarily, or a conversion if you're, if you can simply confirm or whatever. But the idea here is not necessarily to win right now, but your job is to try to get out of this corner, right? Cammy, if you can't use your walk speed to induce whiffs, you're stuck trying to challenge my buttons, right? Like as I walk up, you try to walk up and press, right? Or not walk up, but like challenge, right? So as I'm walking, you try to cover with some button. Or you have to walk forward and press a button to hit me, right? But the one thing you can't do is whiff punish, right? Because you can't create the space necessary. And if I'm doing my job correctly on this side, I shouldn't be whiffing, right? Like you can't go anywhere, you can't back up, so I should be able to walk in pretty free and press a button, right? So what this means is that you have to take the risk, right, to press. But the idea though is that you don't necessarily want to spend all your resources to do so, right? If you can get even just a little bit of space here, so like even if you walk forward to like this where my cursor is, this is enough space for you to play neutral again, right? From here, now you can threaten whiff punishes, now you can threaten like jumps and other things because I have to watch out for whiffing. But if I don't have to worry about whiffing on my end, a lot of the other things become a lot easier for me to play neutral, right? Like if you had to play against an opponent and you always knew that your button would always land on hit or on block, it's so much easier, right? Like you're not gonna whiff, so you don't have to worry about that risk, and you can just kind of press freely, right? Like you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So that's the
So like
position I'm in. Yeah. So good.
advancing just that little bit basically would force you to also use like your lights and mediums or whatever, which means I only have to be able to walk back to space a light or medium rather than a heavy. So you can actually, I guess the takeaway there is that you can actually, you don't have to create as much space as maybe I was thinking, I guess, to open up the possibility with punching, because you're going to use smaller buttons at that point too,
Exactly,
probably.
right? Or if I want to use my heavy button, then I have to back up a little bit more, give you more space, which gives you more space. And now it's like, okay, now you can play a little bit more neutral. Now, obviously, closer to the corner is still scary, right? Like things are difficult. You can't back up that much, right? Things like spin knuckle are not really useful for you anymore, right? Hooligan's not really as good anymore, right? Some of those tools are not good anymore. Dive kick can be good, and you haven't been used dive kick, we'll talk about in a bit, but that can be good. But like yeah, bitch, you got it right. Is that you don't need that much space. You need some space, right?
Yeah.
But you don't need a ton, right? I think like for most characters, if you're able to, so here your back is against the corner, right? Like you can't go back anymore. If you're able to get about a character length in front of you, right? Like if you were to stand where my cursor is here and you have a character length behind you, rather, is probably a better way to put it. That's enough space for most people to be able to play something resembling, mid-screen neutral, right? You can't back up far enough to use your neutral skips, but at least you'd be able to contest, right? And you're right, like I'd have to use lights and mediums at that range, or I have to back up a little more to press heavies, and that gives you more space to do so, right? But if you're back against the corner and I control the space here, I don't have to necessarily back up that much to do my heavy button, right? I can just walk up, because you have to take a risk if I'm doing that, right? So, and this is really kind of critical with Cammy, because like this is how the opposite of this and what I'm doing to you here. That's how Cammy wins games, actually, right? So we can talk about Cammy offensive sequencing in a bit, but here, yeah, from here though, yeah, you don't need a ton of space, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you make a read, right, and you read that I'm gonna do something, or you try to tag me as I'm walking back, right? Like I totally respect that, right? Like if you thought I was gonna walk back here and you just send this, that's totally fine, right? But if you notice that I'm not doing that, or you're noticing this is not working as much as you'd like, or I DPOS you here, right? Like this is the worst case scenario would be I DPOS you right here, right? Like just send it, you lose all your meter, and then I get a knockdown, right? Like that's even worse. Then you have to be a little bit careful about the usage of this. Okay, and then here, I think you were trying to mash. Let's see. Oh, okay, try to send a button here. Okay. So, just remember that Ken's crouching medium punch is 0 here. Or sorry. It's a 6-frame move here. So what happened is I jabbed on minus.
Yeah.
And then you try to press a kind of a bigger button and you got clipped here, right? So if you're going to challenge a light string like that, I think the better option is to try to mash a jab, right? So
yeah,
if you're gonna do this, you did this earlier actually, so right. So all right, right. So, and even if you don't get a full conversion off that, you stop my offense, right? So like you just it just resets, right? But the point is,
yeah, I think that's the other big takeaway is just be okay with kind of getting the stray hit and.
Yeah. Because and we can talk about why that sets things up. But like for Cammy in particular, she doesn't have a ton of cancelable, like the better pokes she has aren't cancelable, obviously, right? So stand heavy kick, stand medium punch, like those buttons aren't cancelable, right? So like why they're like that is because they're good as pokes, right? You can control space with it, right? So but yeah, I think decision making wise though, from here, this is already too close for medium, right? Like this is too close, I think, for that. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's okay. It's a little bit close, I think, for my taste, but it's okay, I guess. It's just you just got caught because you pressed late, right? So you delayed a little bit here, So you're player
Mhm.
1, so you delayed a little bit here, and then hit for it basically. So if you had pressed immediately, what happens? Let's see. Yeah. So even if you press immediately, right?
Yeah.
Right. That gets beat by the crouching medium punch. So if you had pressed the jab though, like we were showing, and challenged that way, that would work, right? Obviously, it's a bit of a risk, right? Because if you mash jab and I go into a light string from there, like you can get hit, like counter hit, and then I get to confirm from that. But
Yeah.
that's kind of part of it, right? So
Yeah. I mean, I was already taking the risk. I just took too much.
yeah. If you had committed to it, right? I mean, you still would have got
Yeah.
counter hit, but at least you would have committed to it instead of kind of delaying a little bit, right? So, all right. So now guess for game. I respect it though. I respect it.
I wasn't making any other sort of comebacks. So I was like, okay, let's send it.
You know what's funny here though is that if you had sent the crouching medium kick here, you would have gotten out of the corner, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just funny because like obviously I was going for a shimmy here, right? And I was like, okay, well if they reversal or if they delay tech or go for anything, right? Because you have to guess something here.
Mhm.
And again, I don't mind this decision overall, but like if we're talking about like, and obviously you end up losing the game for this, but something to consider here is that if you are like if this was round 3 or something, right, and like you needed to reversal to get out of this and you were in kind of this same meter situation, I would potentially send a level 1 instead, right? So like if you're gonna reversal here and you want to have a chance at winning the game, like you could send level 1 here. That'll preserve your meter a little bit, deal some decent reasonable damage to me, and you have a chance of winning now because you're mid screen, right? So you're if you did that, we'd both be 1 mix up away basically, right, from dying potentially, right? And you have meter to work with. So something to consider there. Now obviously this is round 1, and you're like, okay, well I'll preserve my super meter. If this works, great. If not, whatever. That's totally fine. But in other situations, I just wanted to highlight that because it is something that can be relevant, right? Is that like there's not enough. I have too much health for you to kill me with 1 super. So if you really wanted to win this round, like you had to have this round, sending the level 1 here would make more sense, or sending super would make more sense because it allows you to preserve this meter, gives you a chance to play neutral, all that stuff, right? Like you get some meter back, you take some meter away from me, and you put me in a situation where now it's like I have to be careful because if you do land a hit, I might die, right? So
Yeah. When I'm on the sliver of drive gauge, like I always feel like I'm trying to make a choice between like, do I use this sliver and like kind of do something expensive with it and like cheat a little bit of drive and then get into burnout? Like if I did a driver's cancel there, I'd get the 3 bars worth of
Mhm.
like a sliver or whatever. Versus I can actually defend and maybe recover it back. And like I guess I'd have to avoid like taking any hits on block or anything to before losing it for nothing. So I don't know. I guess what are your thoughts on like spending it versus trying to save it
yeah,
when you're on like a
I'm generally a fan of burning out on your own terms, right?
yeah
Because like again, like at that point, if I send a stand heavy punch and you get conservative and you block it, you burned out, and then it's like, well, now I don't have anything, right? So that's why I was saying I respect it,
yeah
and it makes sense, right? I think like if you're gonna burn out, you might as well burn out on your own terms. What makes it difficult there in that situation was that you didn't have a lot of health to work with, right? So like
yeah
if this was like mid round and you burned out with half health, I think it makes sense, right? I think you can play neutral well enough that you can kind of navigate that situation. But since it was like guess for game for you anyway, that's like the pressure that I'm applying by walking forward at that point, right? In your mind, you're like, what's he gonna do? Because if I'm wrong, I'm dead, right? So
yeah
again, I think that burning out your own terms is probably better than not. But I also think that you have to kind of get a read. It's a guess, right? It's the 50
yeah. I mean the guess for game reversal like the very end never works for me anyways. I should just stop.
Yeah, but sometimes one time it does though. You're like, damn, I'm so smart. But
Yeah.
it's also like, of course, right? Like, and even Daigo talks about this, right? He had the
Yeah.
had a while back. He was like, are someone asked him, I think it was on stream or something. I forget exactly where I saw it, but he's like, do you reversal when you're gonna lose? And he's like, of course, you're gonna lose,
Yeah.
right? Like, what are we talking about? I think the representation of it is important though, right? Because like I could
Yeah.
have just as easily went for a media to try to burn you out there, and then it would have worked, right? Like if I had
Yeah.
been aggressive there. So, you know, clearly I made a decision, you made a decision, and it lined up where I get to win, right? But like in another alternate universe, I go for the heavy to try to burn you out, and then you ODDP, and then like you're able to get out, right? Well, not
Yeah.
anymore because also Cammy's ODDP doesn't side switch anymore, but you'd be able to reversal, and then you at least have a chance, right? Like you're burned out with not a lot of health, but you have level 1. Maybe you can out neutral me a little bit or long enough to get your meter back, right? That type of thing. But at least you have a chance, right? So you know, I don't hate it, right? I respect the decision because it makes sense, right? You're gonna die.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to get a read, right? And I think it's one of those things where you're like, will it work, will it won't work? I don't know, but sometimes you have to try. So 1 sec here. There we go. All right, so back to this, right? That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, didn't cancel, but it was pretty good. Yeah, you're going for it, right? This is a good button right here. I whiff.
Yeah, I've been trying to work on using the crouching medium punch more instead of crouching medium kick.
It's a good button. Yeah, it's a good button.
Yeah, it's less scaling, and you know, you can actually hit confirm it if you're good.
Yeah, the
That's
punish
like,
counter crouching medium punch goes into crouching medium punch, and then you can just arrow from there. But yeah,
yeah.
but that range I think is a little bit long. I think setting a driver share would have been fine had it gone out, had it come out. So here, I think what had happened, and I kind of noticed this, was that like you weren't quite sure how to deal with what I was doing in neutral wise, right? Like,
Yeah.
you had gotten whiff punished a few times for it. You had whiffed a few buttons, and I was able to beat you. And when like, and it's something that I think I force on people is that like, you feel like you can't press a button, and every time you do press a button, you might whiff it, and I whiff punish you, or you try to press and I counter hit you. Right, like, oh, I'm gonna try to keep him out by pressing my longer range button. And I just walk up and stand light kick, right, like that, right. So if you had pressed your heavy, that'll counter hit you, right. If you press nothing, you just block, right. But like you had thought that maybe is just gonna press something and whiff, right, or is he gonna back up again, right, from right here, this situation right here, right, this space right here is super dangerous, right, because like I walked in. And you have to, and for whatever reason, you have to make a decision, right? It's like, oh, do I press? Do I not press? Do I try to challenge? Do I walk back? Whatever. And then somehow, some way, you get counter hit every time, right? And really what that is that I'm trying to recognize what you want to do in neutral here and apply something that will beat that, right? And what I noticed in this round right here was that you didn't want to press. So watch what I do. Right. No jumps, no drivers cancels, no lows. I just poke, and then all of a sudden you're in the corner. Right? Like 4 seconds of not a whole lot happened. You hit me a couple of times. Unfortunately, the driver's cancel would have gotten you out of the situation, but it didn't come out. But you can see what happened was that you gave up a ton of space for free, and I got to poke at max range with some risk, but it felt like it was easier for me to do that, right?
Part of this like was a conscious decision, a bad one, but a conscious decision because that I saw that you were starting to do the long pokes, so I was trying to figure out the spacing to do that forward heavy kick, and in doing so, I ended up backing myself up. Into the corner.
Yeah, and that's what I noticed. Right, was you were looking for something, right? Whatever that was. Obviously, I didn't know that was what you're doing because it's your thought, right? But I was like, okay, they're unwilling to press Cammy's pokes currently. So I'm going to walk into the space because they're not pressing, right? Alright, so that was pretty good. Let's see.
I actually miss Manon's spin over the spin knuckle.
Yeah, you and Fuyu, man. I don't know what they're giving you guys in the water for Manon mains, but being able to do that is like tilting for me. Like every time Fuyu hits me with that, I'm like, you son of a.
I mean, it's frame 3 Fireball Invincible versus like frame 9 or something. I mean, you're plus, so it's less risky, but you can't do it on reaction. It has to be a read. So it's that was a big adjustment too, and very annoying.
Oh yeah, because and Cammy used to be able to do that, and then they nerfed it, right? So
that would have been so nice.
Back in the day, huh? And I think honestly, I think it's fine that Cammy's is like that. It has to be a read as opposed to like a reaction thing, because if Cammy could do that on reaction to every fireball in the game, like it's crazy, right? Like that'd be nuts. Good conversion here.
That would be so bad.
Yeah, as Manon, man, it doesn't seem to bother me that much, huh? That said, though, this is a good space for your spin knuckle, right? So you induced me to throw a fireball, and I get spin knuckle for it. So that's good. That's good on you. And again, that's a Manon thing too, right? You can do that. So that instinct is there. So that's good. Good conversion, right? So here, and I was saying this on stream, I think, was that like the offensive sequencing generally goes into a low here to care to catch me walking back, but it's very expensive, right?
Yeah.
Now this works out, and it's a good conversion, I think. It's a little bit low on damage because Cammy's crushing medium kick and she does low damage anyway. But I think like cornering me the whole way is probably fine and not the worst spend overall, because you get a plus 11 situation here, right, or whatever it is. So good meaty here. Right, I try to mash out after the third because I thought you were gonna walk forward or press something else. You don't. I get hit. Right, and then you burn out. Right, so immediately went into another low and do that. Right, so just remember that if I'm in the corner here, and I don't know why people do this, but if I'm in the corner here, why would I walk back? Right, like, and it's hilarious to me because I know that this works for you. Right, I know 100% that you've hit a million people with this particular sequence. Right, and so for whatever reason, people hold back instead of down back in the corner. Like, where are you going? Right, so. But really, from a decision-making standpoint here, after this, right? So after you do the light string, and we'll take a look at this in the lab. I think it'll help to illustrate this more. After this light string, right? You hit me, and maybe, yeah. So it's a counter hit, right? So you have to go into crouching medium punch from here, I think, to convert. But anyway, you hit me here, right?
Mm-hmm.
From here, you don't have to do anything, right? So if we just simply stood up, right? If you look at that spacing, that's like ideal corner control spacing, right? So like if I press a button to challenge or anything like that, and we can take a look at this in the lab because I think this will help solidify the offense for you. But you can see that like the spacing I'm standing at right there is ideal corner spacing. You don't have to win the game right there, right? Like, yeah, I'm here at this point in time in my health, right? But you don't have to win the game right then and there, right? You have a health lead, you have corner control, meters about the same. You don't have to continue your offense, right? You don't have to extend here, right? Because if you think about it, if you're Manon and you did the light string, you don't necessarily have to extend, right? You can just back up and control space, right? So
yeah, you like can't extend on
yeah. Well, and you're forced. I guess you're forced in some ways, right?
Yeah.
Like you could do that, and then maybe you could force something with like a raw drive rush and a command grab, maybe jump scare me, whatever. But like if you gave most people this situation right here, like, oh, I have corner control, I have health lead, like this is ideal, right? Like most people will be like, I'm totally fine parking here, anti-airing jumps with punishing buttons, challenging my own buttons, threatening burnout. Like that's totally fine from Cammy's perspective. But doing this means you burn out. I tried a DPOS, it didn't come out. I got a fireball instead, which actually worked out because if I had done the ODP on block, it would be dead. And then yeah. So this is more of what I would want to see, right? Is controlling space with your buttons at the range that allows her to control these buttons, and then just kind of whittle me down, right? Like make me want to make a decision, a risky one that you can deal with, right? Like that, right? That jump. Now, you had mentioned anti-airing is a little bit tough, and I totally get that. But imagine if you could anti-air here, right? So like,
dare to dream.
Yeah, but I mean, like you hit me, you whiff this button. DP, right?
Yeah.
I took a huge risk, didn't work out. I took damage for it, right? Even though you're burned out, doesn't matter. You DP me, and I'm knocked down, right? It's like, oh, maybe that gets over you, huh? Right? Like in an ideal world, you do that, And
Mhm.
now, right, like you have a situation where you can potentially run some offense even burned out, right? You can go for like some sort of offensive sequence pressure, get plus frames, right? Go for strike throw. Again, even though you're burned out, there's nothing I can do, right? I can't kill you because you're in burnout, right? So you can apply
Yeah.
pressure. And even if I reversal here, who cares, right? You have so much health, right? So like I have to take a big risk. I'm gonna die. I only have a bar here, or maybe I do level one. Like level one would be pretty good for Ken actually here, side switch. But like, risk wise overall, you'd probably be able to get out of the situation, right? Or at least control more. Or you do that DP, you back off, right? And now you have to play neutral again. So anyway. Right. So instead you have the delay tech. So now instead you have to deal with mid screen offense with no meter, right?
Yeah.
Oh, delay tech gets blown up by the delay button on my end. All right, now you're in trouble, right? This is tough. You have to be ready to buffer to super or whatever. And I went on stream because I was like, oh, come on. Right. And then here you get baited by the level 1, right? So just remember that for Ken's Jinrai in Burnout here, the medium is actually safe. It's -3 now in Burnout. So I don't have to follow up and I'll be safe on block, right? So you don't, it's hard to super there. You have to make a decision,
Yeah.
right? If I'm going to couch immune kick or not, right? And you happen to not, so. Okay, so that's what happens there. So yeah, I think again, like, it's really more of just character familiarity with how offensive sequencing works and going to like a strike throw mix character versus a command grab character. I think that's really what it is, offensive sequence wise, right? Because like I could tell that you knew the sequence that you wanted to do mid screen, and I could tell that you
Mhm.
had an offensive combo or a combination rather that you wanted to do. But when you corner me, it falls apart because you don't need to do that anymore, right? You don't need to do the crouch immune kick drive rush anymore. You don't need to do any of that stuff anymore, right? So, because if you look at like how Ken runs offense, it's actually kind of similar to what Cammy does, right? So when I corner you as Ken, what do? Right? I try to get you
Yeah,
to
you stand there and you hit buttons at an annoying range until I get impatient.
and you make a mistake. Maybe a knockdown happens,
Yeah.
and then when the knockdown happens, I try to go for an Oki setup, right? Strike throw mix. So you can
Yeah.
see me go for like strike throw shimmy. I do neutral jumps, try to bait you into pressing, bait reversals, etc. Right? And Cammy runs the offense the exact same way. One of the bigger differences though is that Cammy has really good space traps off her lights, right? So we can look into that as well. But that's kind of the main takeaway here was that I thought offensively, like the offensive sequencing, you just need to learn how to play strike throw more, like do that more.
Mhm.
But mid screen, I thought, and neutral wise, I thought you were doing fine, right? Like for game one, you smoked me, right? You were moving in a way that like I wasn't ready for, and you beat me, right? And that's what happens. But once I adjusted to that offense, it became very difficult, I think, for you to generate any offense because I was like shutting down your one tool, right? And because of that, it's like, oh, what do I do now when my offense is kind of one dimensional in that way? Once that's done, it's like, what do I do now, right? So,
Yeah.
cool. Let me bring up a replay here. Hopefully, let's see.
There were a couple of what probably looked like extremely random jumps in there as well. That was when I was trying to do
Dive
some
kicks.
instant dive kicks.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say that I think dive kick is really good, and you should probably send more of those. The issue
Yeah.
is being able to recognize the spacing that you can do them at, and I think some of it is just practice too, right? So be willing to, what you call it, experiment a little bit, right? Like just use them and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this will be good. Let's click this one. All right, cool.
I just picked a random Terry because I have been having trouble with Terry recently. I don't know if this is actually a good
Well, we'll see.
or not.
You got around, so.
Yeah.
All right, so what's happening here, right? If we look and think about what is occurring right here, this Terry assumes you're going to spin knuckle, right? Like, watch the first 5 seconds of this.
I probably wanted to, too.
Yeah. He's trying to get you to spin knuckle, right? So, see if that comes into play at all. That was good, right? So, this is the kind of thing that Cammy does really well. You all can press a button, and it stops whatever they're doing, right? So I guess I can talk about this here. So when it comes to what's happening in neutral, right? And I think this is a little bit different from a command grab character, but I'll try to talk about it. Is that for Shoto-esque characters, right? So ones that control space by with punishing, pressing these longer range buttons and all that to control space, and then have a low forward driver's cancel. The way that I see or I view their offense is that you use these buttons to set up the spacing that you control, and then from there you can use that along with your superior walk speed, forward walk speed, to force them to try to back up, and that's when you can tag them with a low forward. Right?
Yeah.
So like if you constantly walk up and press this button and this Terry constantly gets counter hit, something will happen to the Terry where they're like, oh, I don't want to get counter hit anymore, or I don't want to get hit anymore. So when you walk up, they have to make a decision. Do they want to walk forward and try to challenge? Do they want to back up, try to get you to whiff? Do they want to jump? Whatever, right? Once you recognize that they pick one of those things more often than not, because humans aren't random and they'll just tend to pick the things that they're comfortable with, at some point you'll realize what they're doing. Oh, every time I walk in, they jump. All right, I'm just going to walk in, walk out, DP. Every time they walk forward, they move forward. I'm going to press a faster button now, right? So maybe instead of this, I press my Cammy stand light kick and it counter hits their attempt at stuffing this, for example, right? Because Cammy stand light kick is absurd, right? It goes so far. Or they back up. I walk forward, they back up, and then that's when you can send the crouching medium kick, right? It's like, oh, I've made a read on that movement of theirs, right? And if you watch like me play and like a lot of my old replays and stuff, I do that a lot, right? Like I think even the first time we played, all I do is like I do a string, I wait like a beat, and then send a crouching medium kick, right? And it tags people like all the time. And it's because I'm making an assumption that they're gonna move, right? As opposed to just blocking. And some of that is dictated by my control of the space here, right? Or in this case, your control of space here. Because if I'm constantly getting hit by something, most people will be like, I don't want to get hit anymore, right? I'm tired of getting hit, so I'm not going to put myself in that position. So I'm going to do something else when that situation comes up, and now me as the offensive player has to recognize what that tendency is and try to beat it, right? So if you do this a ton, and let's see what happens. But that's basically the meat of it, right? Is that you are on offense. When you're doing this offensively, you're trying to elicit reactions from your opponent by your movement and the spacing, right? Space control. And then once you've identified the patterns that exist from that, you can make an educated guess on what they're going to do next, right? Oh, this Terry always jumps at me when I walk forward. Okay, I can just anti-air them now, right? Walk forward, walk back, anti-air. So that was a good stand heavy kick. Good block. Ooh. All right. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's not bad. Okay. All right. So let's see the offense here, right? Good. Oh, woke up with the low, right? So. Uh-oh. Oh, went for a parry after? Okay. Oh, nice. This should be it, right?
I think so.
All right, cool. So how did you hit him, right? So it's the thing that you had been doing with the jab and a crouch into low, right? And why does this work? Is because people hold back instead of down back for whatever reason after a jab. So you jabbed him here, right? Look at his input. He's just holding back, right?
Yeah.
Why? I have no idea. Thinking that he'd be out of that. But that's why these works, right? And that's why this sequence works, right? Is because your opponent had a tendency to hold back after a jab here in this situation, or they held back the jab situation. You're able to send a crouching medium kick and kill him for it, right? So
Yeah, I think I do see that a lot, and I thought I was kind of interpreting it as they wanted to just back out so that they could do something, but maybe they're just literally holding back and forgetting to down back.
could be, right? Like I obviously know who this Rock MF is, right? So could be.
Yeah.
But I think the tendency of a lot of people is to back up, right? And you'll notice that a lot when you're playing Cammy, is that people tend to just kind of want to try to back up out of her space, out of her.
Well, I mean, I remember like when I was around this level with Manon and did the session, that was like the main feedback you had for me was I kept blocking that.
And it's totally subconscious, right? Because you're like, I just blocked something. They're minus, right? Like my opponent is minus. At this level, they shouldn't be pressing when they're minus, right? So I should be able to back up for free. And I think that's something that I take advantage of a lot, right? Like it's like the main thing I'd use. But that was something, right? When we talked about it, was that like, how conscious are you of your movement after block strings? And I think like, I remember you going, oh, what? Right? And realizing that it's like, this is why I get hit all the time, is because I'm trying to back up and not get hit. And if your opponent's paying attention, they can just send a low and grab and tag me, right? So
Yeah, that was huge when you told me that from Manon.
right. And so what did happen here, right? So why did this guy get hit again, right? Weird. So after the drive rush, he tries to delay tech, but it wasn't a counter hit. So what? Oh, that's really unfortunate. So yeah, it looks like he tried to input something and then he let go of block.
Mm.
It's unfortunate. All right. Okay. Good. That's a good conversion. All right. Don't mind that at all.
That was a mistake.
Yeah, they're right here. Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah.
Wait, you lost this? Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see what happens here.
Wait, was this the first of the 3 rounds?
Yeah, this is round 2, but it was the second or the third one. It looked like you had 2 losses here. Let's see. Oh. Ooh.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
All right. Oh, and then he did the classic I'm holding back. Like, I don't want to get hit by another overhead. And he walked back. Ugh. Is he super E here? Level 2? Yeah. So, how did this fall apart, right? And really what it came down to was right here. Right? So, if you anti-air this, I think you win the game, right? It is what it is. You went for parry instead, and it didn't quite work out, right? So this is fine. Right? And then now you're in the Terry blender here, right? So he's plus. He was for a jump instead. You went for a delay tech. He doesn't punish it. But then you go for a second delay tech here, right? So defensive decision-wise, probably should have just blocked, right? Because,
yeah,
you know, we haven't seen the Terry. Well, maybe you have seen Terry's offense at this point. It's game 2 or whatever. But, you know, delay teching here is kind of risky from that situation. Because, like, if you look right here, even if the Terry goes for a throw, right? He's out of range.
Yeah.
Right? So there's not really a compelling reason for you to delay tech unless you saw some forward movement. Also, because you had blocked something on the parry, it means that you could delay tech, right? But you can also just continue blocking, right? I think, like, given your existing health, your current health situation, you could have just blocked the whole way out. So defensively, like, you don't have to commit to anything when you have health lead, right? So
I think I was just panicked and flustered because I threw away.
Yeah, and then now you're getting hit a bunch, right? You're guessing incorrectly. You got overheaded. Yeah, so yeah, composure in the corner is paramount. Okay, nice. All right, so I think if you were gonna play Cammy more, you probably do need to tighten up that Oki a little bit, right? So be willing to run pressure. Uh-oh. All right. Okay, so this sequence right here, while you get the throw, right?
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, from right here. So, like, you don't have to send... Like, I know it's really hard to not do this, but the main thing that crouching medium kick drive rush gives you, for Cammy in particular, is corner carry, right? The damage is not that much, right? If you look at, like, how much damage you did on this sequence...
It's only like 2,000 or something.
And that's on punish counter, right? That's a punish counter
Yeah.
low that got you 2,000 damage, right? So, like, the real thing you're getting is a good button in neutral that tags walking, that blows up movement, and corner carry, right? That puts you in the corner. And an Ogi situation that's really favorable to you, right?
Mhm.
Dash forward, right? Right? And you can kind of do anything you want from there, right? So that's what you're getting when you do crouching medium kick. So in the corner, you don't necessarily need to use that, right? Unless again you have a read that they want to move backward for whatever reason, right? And you did tag them with that before. But from here, right? Okay, perfect parry comes out. He drops the combo. Right, from right here, you don't have to send crouching medium kick, right? You can you can accomplish the same thing with a meaty button, right? So like right here, right? Cammy's crouching medium punch or crouching heavy punch is +1, right? So you still
Yeah.
can get kind of a strike throw situation from there, right? So and that doesn't cost you any drive. It applies the same amount of pressure, and the opponent still has to guess, right? Now, obviously, it's not as strong as a drive rush mix-up, obviously, right? Because there's so many things that can happen out of that, plus frames from any button until a strike throw. But your opponent does have to guess a little bit on a +1, right? Like you can't necessarily go into throw. Well, you have to mock forward, I think, but they have to guess if they want to mash or not, right? And if they mash, you can beat them with your own 4-framer, right? You just do crouching light punch into stand light kick into arrow or whatever, right? So, and what I'm trying to get at here is that with Cammy, her corner pressure here isn't reliant on drive rush in particular, right? So you don't have to send this. Is what I'm getting at. So.
Yeah, it's just a lot of autopilot since crouching kick is
Yeah,
just sort of like
yeah,
do
and
everything.
it's the main thing you do, right? So it's really
Yeah.
easy to do that, right? So if you want to take this character and continue playing them, then you do have to make that adjustment, I think.
Yeah.
See, now the spacing you're at here, this is perfect, right? Like if you get good at Cammy's spacing, you can whiff punish buttons, you can anti-air and DP jumps, right, and all that. So,
Mhm.
but you're doing really. This is really good, right? That's actually not a bad dive kick. Oh, that was sick. Oh no. All right, so let's look at this sequence, right? So after this, how does the Terry get out, right? So you're doing a good job here maintaining the space, right? Okay, so it was the delay tech, right? So
Yeah.
that right there is what got you. But like, if you look at what's happening here, the Terry had to take a risk to walk up and kick you here, right? Like they have to walk up and do that. So,
Yeah.
You can control space a little bit and force them to whiff things. You can also apply a little more pressure by walking forward and pressing buttons. But I think like spacing wise, I think this is good. You can, if you work through this section and be like, okay, let me see how I can keep my opponent from trying to get out of the corner. I think you could do pretty well, right?
Yeah, that Terry medium kick has messed up my my day a lot.
It's so far, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's unfortunate. Uh-oh. Oh. Waiting for reverse. Oh no! So how'd you get hit here, right? So you got tagged walking back, the classic, right?
Yeah. I mean, Terry is basically doing what you just talked about, where he's throwing out pokes until I get desperate and do something dumb.
Yeah, make a
And
mistake, right? Or maybe not even
yeah.
make a mistake, but like you happen to pick the
How to
thing.
risk something to make something happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You happen to pick the thing that he was ready to beat, right? So, and then it's super right. So like, realistically, I thought that from right here, you had a pretty good chance of winning this round, right? Like if you're able to keep them in the corner here, build some of your meter back. Also check this drive rush, right? So if you were to check this, I think the rest of the game goes a little bit differently, right? So from here, right, if you're able to do that, the game changes, right? Even if you just did this. Oop. Oop. Right? The game changes a little bit, right? Because the reason that Terry was able to do the things that they were doing and maybe this doesn't make as much sense for the Terry in particular, but like he got some space back, which allowed him to be more aggressive, if that makes sense, right? Whether this Terry recognized that or not, I don't know. But because this Terry is kind of just doing what they're gonna do, right? They just kind of decide I'm gonna run these buttons, push buttons, whatever. But like the point is that stuff works because he has space behind him to force you to think about what he's gonna do, right? So
Sure.
he could just kind of do whatever he wants because he has space to do it, right? If he didn't have that space and just started going ham like he was doing here, you would have been able probably to stuff a lot of the options, right? You wouldn't be able to crack shoot necessarily because he's too close. No burn knuckle, obviously he's too close, right? Even the raw drive rush wouldn't work because he's too close, right? So like those options no longer really work. But because he was able to get some space back, it allowed him the luxury of being able to do this, right? Just like walk forward, press buttons, backed up to be able
that
to
delay tech also gives up way more space than I think I realized.
yeah. Delay tech is huge, right? So like it gives up so much space. So it's especially mid screen, right? And the main reason it did that is because you were the one that got let's see, hold on. So you were the one that got teched, right?
Yeah.
So like you're the one that got slid back. If it was the other way, I think it slides the other way. Hold on, let's see. See? So a little bit unfortunate when it comes to that, right? Because you were trying to delay tech against him, and because your tech came out before his, he ended up delay teching you, and you got knocked back, right? You saw how much different that was when it, like, the space wise. Like,
yeah, I could have used that bar too.
yeah, because it gives you meter and everything, right? So like it's just unfortunate. The Street Fighter 6 is unfortunate, right? It's just how it went. But yeah, I think like again, like the corner offense is where you could probably gain a little bit more. And we can take a look at that. Let's take a look at that real quick. I just want to showcase something here. Let me get into lab real quick. I'll invite you in if you wanted to view this, but anyway, change the Cammy.
Yeah, I actually closed the Civ 6.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You don't. I just opened the room anyway, but all right, and then we'll change. Make this Cammy.
I'm having against Alex. I need to do that.
I do too. I'm so bad against Alex. I just kind of rip DPs and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So we want to do this. Let me just set this up real quick. Bear with me here. Okay. And then we'll have Ken block everything. All right. So, general sequencing with Cammy, right? So one of the main buttons you can probably press when it comes to meaties is this one, right? The crouching heavy punch. If you notice, right, there's a little bit of space here, so you can't throw anymore, generally, right? So if I wanted to throw you from here, I'd have to walk up and throw, right? So, but if I do that, right, and the Ken recognizes this, right? So if we're gonna press that. So if Ken recognizes this will work, right? Right, like counter hit. So that's one of the things that like, and hopefully I'll be able to build this correctly. I'm trying to go off memory a little bit here, but like, a lot of times the meaties that you do, if you look at like Cammy guides or whatever, a lot of times you recommend this, right? Because even if you miss it by a little bit, you're still plus in some capacity, but you can't throw, right? Like if again, like I'm gonna counter hit, right? So instead what happens, or what you can do, is if you've noticed that Ken has decided to do that, right, you would do this instead. Right, you would
that makes sense.
Right? And then you run it, right? Right, something like that. So you're basically using your plus frame to beat whatever option they're doing, right? And this is still safe, right? So even if they do nothing, Look at the spacing, right? Even though you're -3, well, obviously it's not punishable, and you're minus, your turn's over. You're out of range for most lights, right? Mediums will probably land, right?
Mhm.
And all that. So if I make the Ken do something like this. So anyway, the point is that if you do that sequence, right, you're spaced out.
Mhm.
So what this means now is that if the Ken tries to take their turn back, they could get space trapped, right? So if I set the Ken to do what Kens do, which is this crouching medium kick, and I have him do it after 3 buttons, right? So basically, I'm gonna do this, right? You're out of range, right? So what does that mean? Now you can do this, right? So the way that you generate offense with Cammy in this situation here, and this is just one example of this, is that you want to establish a kind of, I don't know if set play is the right word, but you want to establish a sequence that you can do that will space you out so that you're safe afterwards. Meaning, like, even if they go over to take their turn back, either they'll whiff it or you'll be able to block. Right? And we saw this right here, right? This is like quintessential what happens, right? Right? You could whiff punish this.
Yeah.
Right? If they do a delay crouching medium kick, so let's say I delay this by about 5 frames. So like this is pretty common, right? Kens will do this too, is that, or other characters will delay their crouching medium kick to see if they can catch you walking after the block,
Mhm.
right? So right. So now if they do a delay crouching medium kick, you blow them up with dive kick, right? But the point is that you've created a spacing situation where if they take their turn back in a way that doesn't work for them, or they do something like aggressive, you would be able to blow them up, right? And even this, right? That's on reaction.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not sending it. I'm just waiting to see if they press a button, and then sending my button if I like reacting to the movement, right? Because even if I do something else, like crouching light punch, for example, here, right? You can't quite wish punish this the same way, right? But then you have an idea of what they're doing now, right? So it's like, oh, they went for a jab instead. So then what can I do, right? So if they're mashing jab or going for a jab instead, I can do something like this now, right? Right? If they start mashing jab, I can maybe change my sequencing to be something else, right? To try to catch that, or I try to space it. Right? So like, basically you're expecting the jab, so you push buttons to get you out of spacing where the jab would whiff, and then you can press your button, right? So something like that, right? And like if you look at the NFC resources, Shogbird put something together for Cammy that's actually really good for this. So it talks about a lot of these kind of sequencing and the offensive sequencing stuff that Cammy can do that blows people up. And this is how you play corner offense with Cammy, right? So at some point, your opponent will stop pressing. Hopefully they stop pressing immediately, right? So like they're like, oh, I keep getting hit by this, right? So now you can do something like this, right? Right? Just walk up and throw them because now they're just blocking, right? And eventually they'll start doing stuff like this, right? Hopefully, if they're good, they'll start doing this, right? Right? And then you can shimmy them, right? So like that recognition of the defensive options that your opponent is doing is how you play Cammy. And it's the same way I play Ken if you think about it, right? I'm trying to get you to commit to a defensive option that can blow up, right? It's just that Cammy's lights are so good that like if I mash against these lights, I'm gonna get hit, right? Where's my crouch? Right. So so generally speaking, when you see like offensive sequencing for this, is you want to make sure that you enforce your plus frames to beat mash. So once they stop mashing, then you try to see if you can space trap them because your opponent is respecting your frames. Now they want to take their turn back, so you blow them up for taking their turn back. Then after that, if they don't want to take their turn back anymore, now you can throw them because they're just going to block, right? Then after they get tired of getting thrown, they delay tech, and then you can blow them with shimmy, right? And then it repeats, right? Now it's like, oh, they want to beat your shimmy with a delay button. Then you go back to the space traps, right? And then over and over and over again, right? Like that's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Again, ideally, in an ideal situation, that's how it plays out. But Street Fighter 6 is not a one-player game, right? Your opponent can do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want to do it, right? The idea is that you are creating these situations that allow you to recognize your opponent's defensive options and hopefully apply a counter to them, right? Like, oh, I've noticed my opponent selects delay tech a lot. I'm going to shimmy them, right? Or I'm going to delay button them, or something that beats shimmy, or sorry, blitz delay tech, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it is, and that's why when you look at high level camis and you watch them play, they don't do a lot of this, right? Maybe
Yeah.
mid screen, but you see more of like this stuff. Like if you watch replays, they'll corner you and then they'll just do this and you die. It's like, why am I losing every interaction? I'm only losing like 2,000 damage or 2,000 health, but I'm dying every time, right?
Yeah.
And that's how they get you. And then eventually you make that huge delay tech, right? That gets blown up, and then they kill you for it, right?
Yeah.
Something like
They
that.
get there.
whatever it is.
Full cash out 5,000-6,000 or something.
Yeah, and then they cash out and you're dead, right? And
Yep.
she still gets Oki after, right? So you just walk up and do it again. But yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of the offensive sequencing is based around that for Cammy in particular, because she doesn't have an overhead, right? And she doesn't have command grab. Well, I mean, besides that, right? But
Not
that's
a normal
really,
command grab.
not really a command
Yeah.
grab, right? But yeah, since she doesn't have those things, this is how you run offense. And if you play Cammy enough, you'll recognize that a lot of characters that don't have those kind of, I don't want to say gimmicks because that usually has like a negative connotation, but they don't have the other tools. Say like a Kimberly that can threaten high-low, or like Ed with like a snatcher or whatever. Like you can't, since you don't have those tools in particular, you're forced to play this game. And you'll notice that characters that do really well can play this game well on top of the other stuff, right? So it's not just like, oh, I'm just going to gimmick you by going left, right, up, down mixes or whatever. It's that I'm able to fundamentally force you to think about strike, throw, shimmy. And then from there, delete your mental stack by adding these additional things you have to look out for. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, how do I play this game? Because I get hit by everything. When in reality is that you've been conditioned to select an option that's going to get hit by the gimmick, right? So
Yeah.
Anyway, at a higher level, I think right now for you at this level, 1300 area, I think just focusing on neutral is going to help a ton. For first of all, second of all, switching to like this kind of pressure, like light string pressure in the corner, or even like this stuff, like meaty setups with the crouching heavy punch. I think it'll go a long way. I do those things, right? And yeah, I think we'll leave it there for now. Neutral wise, I think you kind of have an idea how to play neutral, press these buttons to control space, and then threaten other things. Like Manon does the same thing in some capacity. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's all I would say for that. Any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts?
No, that makes sense. Like I had definitely noticed that my drive management was really bad because of the over reliance on the crouching medium kick drive rush, but definitely looking at some of the sequences in the corner where it was just completely pointless.
Yeah, like
was
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
I did autopilot that a lot, so
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you just gotta watch out for that, right? Once you notice you're doing it, it's easy to stop doing it.
Yeah, and then also just I think probably the biggest takeaway is just be okay with not continuing your offense. Just get the poke or whatever, and then don't try to force anything after, like with drive.
Yep. Like this situation right here, parked under the corner,
Mhm.
parked under the timer with your opponent in the corner here, is really strong. Every character in the game struggles to beat this, right? It doesn't matter what character you have. It doesn't matter what character's on the other side. If you're in this position right here, where like can stand heavy kick, like his longest reaching normal, won't hit you, and you can walk in and out like this and force it, and then just whiff punish or whatever. Really, really powerful, right? That's how games are won and lost, right? It's like hockey, I guess. You can win in the corners, right? So you just need to get into and Cammy's really good at getting you into the situation, right? So that's why she's good as she is. So yeah, I think you get the idea though, and I think there's some lab work you have to do here, like trying to figure out offensive sequencing. Again, there's a couple of documents, the one by Knots, if you've seen that.
Yeah, I do refer to the one by Knots, but I've not ventured past the beginner page, which I think has basically just has you doing the jabs for all your Oki.
Yeah, and
It's
that's
easier.
still strong, right? Like
Yeah.
if I do this, right, that's strong. And if they don't do anything, right? Yeah, it's spaced out for the crouch medium kick, right?
Yeah.
And then there's some other thing. There's other things you can do. Like you can vary up the sequence, right? Like the light chain that you do, you can vary it up, right? You can do delay options or whatever, right? Leave gaps or whatever. But that's just
Yeah.
more of like a feel thing, and you'll just have to play and get used to adding and then add them to your game as they come in, right? So like how, man, I keep getting hit by someone who's delay buttoning after my jabs here, right? They do a delay option and beats everything. All right, what do I do there? And then you can look it up and figure that out, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, cool. Yeah, so that's all I think you got an idea there. I don't know if you wanted to run it back or not. I mean, it's still kind of early, but you don't have to if you don't feel like it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
if you're down, I'm down. I just need to grab a tissue.
okay,
Give me a minute here.
sure.
Oh, should have set some 6 to load up. So you got another session
Yeah, 10.
at 11?
The
Was it 10?
Did I put 10? I don't remember now. Yeah, it's 10. So it's all right. We're
Oh, I
good.
have some.
Good on 10. Yeah, I'll be able to stretch out a little bit and then get back to it. I haven't streamed in forever. Like I was like, oh, I haven't done it, and then I was able to get some time this morning. And I was like, oh, I should probably spend it on this. So
Yeah. I try to tune into a lot of your streams, so I noticed.
yeah, it's been tough. Like it's been hard to find time. Usually I try to stream in the evening times, but it's been hard to find time for that too. So it's gonna be the life of the old man, I guess. All right. So main thing I would say is just try not to drive rush cancel so much. That's really
Yeah.
the only currently actionable advice, because everything else you have to work in the lab. So nice. Nice. Oh, I think you tried to DP there, right?
Yeah.
It looked like it. Nice. Oh! Oh, I dropped it?
You should have been ready.
Man. That's actually better though. You were winning way more neutral interactions than I was. That stand heavy kick's really good. So
Great. Oh, that delayed button again.
I gotta watch the late tech. Whew, I was actually kind of worried that S10 heavy punch is gonna whiff. Nice.
Every time.
Oh, let's take again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you could probably add if you wanted to work on something would be a DPOS there. I'm pretty sure there's a gap on that crouching medium kick. So if I do that, you can derev it or
Yeah,
OS
I'm
it.
still very unused to DP, like using my reversal
Oh
for
yeah,
anything.
yeah. That's fair enough. Uh-oh.
I didn't mean to do that.
Oh! Oh, the whiff.
Nope, I don't know what that was.
It was a little close. I was moving forward. Nice. Uh-oh.
Hey,
Oh, no! Oh, clipped walking back.
I'll walk back.
I know, and it is what it is, but I think like you were doing a much better job drive meter management wise. I thought you were a little bit better about the crouching meter drive cancels. And I think that you have an idea of how to control space and then induce whiffs because of it, right? Because you play Manon, and it's the same idea. Just the tools look a little different, but your usage of sand heavy kick is really strong. So I would definitely continue doing that. So yeah. Cool, man. Yeah, I can leave it there. Anything else you wanted to ask about or talk about?
No, I think I'm good.
Cool.
Thanks so much for.
Yeah, always a pleasure, man. So yeah, I'll have these up probably sometime tomorrow or something on YouTube. But yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye.
Everybody, thanks for joining in. Shut up. I have another session coming at 10, so about 20 minutes. So I'm gonna cut the stream now and then start it up again so that it's easier for me to upload later. Appreciate you guys coming on. I run the Street Fight Rise. So Fight Rise is a fighting community focused on Street Fighter 6 for the most part. They have bi-weekly events through their One Fight Stand series. It is a it's like a basic, or sorry, they run bi-weekly events that are Swiss tournaments. I don't know what I said earlier. But they have a Swiss tournament. You get 7 rounds. There's a couple of different pools. They get separated by rank and all that stuff. So a couple different pools. You play 7 rounds. It's a good time. Meet a lot of cool people. Play them. They also do community events for the Urge to Fight series. They do commentary for them every once in a while. It's a really good way to showcase people in the community that have been getting better in the game. They get to be showcased on stream. They also do Big League KO. So Big League KO is a league format. It's basically a 4-week format where you are put into a 8-person pool and you play round robin. And you get basically flexible scheduling. They're all first to fives. You play 2 rounds or 2 matches a week over the course of 4 weeks. And if you do well to get out of pools, there's a postseason. You get to play in a postseason bracket, and it's a lot of fun. And the finals are streamed on Urge to Fight. It's really, really popular. It's a good way to get these longer sets with people in tournament settings, so tournament pressure type stuff. So it's really good for that. I'm also part of the Newbie Fight Club. So Newbie Fight Club is a fighting community focused on getting newer players into fighting games, mostly Street Fighter 6. They do lobby nights every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Wednesdays are the main kind of newbie lobby nights. I think they also been doing tournaments, and modern only tournaments as well. You have to check the actual Discord itself for the scheduling. I know that's been changing a little bit because one of the main TOs has been a little bit busy with stuff, so I think they've kind of moved around some of the timings for that. But otherwise, yeah. So thank you all for watching. Appreciate you guys talking, chatting, and all that stuff. I know I don't always respond to chat while I'm focused on the person I'm working with, but I do appreciate your likes, your follows, and all that good stuff. And I'll begin on again in about 20 minutes. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in 20 minutes.